Welcome everyone to this week's edition of the Conversations of American Democracy. It's good to see you all, and especially to have a special guest here. Two housekeeping issues. Well, you know what? Let's skip the housekeeping issues and make the most of the time we have. So we have a special guest, Ron Murchinson, who's running for Congress. We'll talk to him in a minute, but we begin traditionally. By the way, Mike Lieberger excused himself, so he doesn't have questions from the citizenship test for us this week. So that means we turn to Curt McCauley, who is going to teach us something about the U.S. Constitution. Curt?
Yes, Amendment 10. Amendment 10? Anybody know what it is?
Yeah, I do.
It's a very good amendment to know something about, because it's basically the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Okay, and of course the 10th Amendment was preceding all the amendments that came out of the Civil War, so very important.
Important also, I might add, because the federal government does not have anything to do with local elections.
Right.
Okay? And that's why I'm curious to know why nobody's saying anything about sending federal monitors to monitor the election in California, but that's a story for another time. Mark Webb has his fingers on the pulse of local government. Briefly, Mark, anything we should be paying attention to?
A lot of nothing, justification in their purpose. I do want everybody to realize there is a third-party city survey going on, which you can find the link in Flagler Live. Pierre posted and did a short story on this survey. It is amazing. I highly recommend searching it out, taking it. It's not sanctioned by the city. It asks some very, I think, appropriate questions about what do you want from your city? Do you want it to be a big metropolitan, huge Jacksonville? Do you want to keep it small and village-like? And where those directions should go. Also, I don't know if you're aware, there's been a second builder-type law suit filed from an organization, a group that had bought many acres up in the northwest part of the city and then wasn't allowed to build because lack of infrastructure. And they've sat back and watched us continue to support and build others. So that came up in the meeting last night. The city just didn't even bring it up or address it. But participate, stay involved. There's a lot of people running for city office, national. Yeah.
Go finish up.
I'm just saying, pay attention, be aware of what's going on. The city charter's still happening, still going on, and a lot happening.
I would like to let everybody know that I surprisingly got a message today from Palm Coast that said I had been appointed to the Fire Department Pension Fund Board.
Congratulations.
Nice.
I've been trying for that for a while
Oh,
now.
so you've been working on that for a while.
So the chief has been advocating for me, and I was shocked to get the notification this morning.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
That's very congratulations. Very nice.
May I say?
Yeah, briefly. Everybody's got to be brief because we have a guest.
Let me get you my brother's number, because he was very instrumental in getting pensions for volunteer firefighters in New Jersey.
We should sit down and talk.
And yes, you'll need to speak with him.
Yeah. And finally, there are one and possibly two petition requests that are going to come your way in response to Ron DeSantis's urging that local schools include Turning Point Charlie Kirk clubs in there. And one petition will be from Americans United for Separation of Church and State. I mean, Kirk, there are so many reasons to object to Kirk things. So one is separation of church, and one may be a general We urge the school board to do all they can to prevent this happening, and that will, of course, piss off Ron DeSantis, but we're only the people, and those are public servants. That's another story. So it's a privilege to introduce Ron Murchinson Rivera, a candidate for Congress, and so it's a primary, and that primary will be in August, and that will decide who will run against, presumably Randy Fine, but the Republicans may dump Randy Fine as well. That's why we have elections.
We can only hope.
Well, yeah, who knows what will be. Yeah. So Ronnie, if you tell us a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself, and then tell us why you have decided to take on this privilege and probably an onerous burden, but a privilege nonetheless. So tell us about
It's a privilege. I got thick skin, don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
I know my name is very, very long. It's Ronnie Murchinson Rivera. Thanks, Mom. Me and my wife decided to share each other's name because we love each other's names so much. But I'm 34 years old. Well, excuse me. My birthday was Saturday, so I'm 35 now.
Happy belated
I'm getting there. I'm married. I have 5 children, foster child. I'm a youth football coach. I was born and raised in New York City. Thank you. Came down here to Florida in 2017. While in New York City, I was a paramedic most of my life. Since 7, I started volunteering at my church, doing things, helping out the people, and I wanted to do more. My godmother was into EMS. She was there pre and post 9/11. She used to come home and tell us everything, the good things. She used to save people's lives. I'm like, oh, that's something I would like to do. So at like 14, she introduced me to the Bedford-Stuyvesant Volunteer Ambulance Corps. I've been volunteering there up until the age of 18. And I finally got my EMT license, and I started from there and graduated up. And then I eventually moved to Rockaway Beach, which is in New York, which if you've been to New York City, you either been to Coney Island or you've been to Rockaway Beach to enjoy the nice, somewhat clean beaches that we have up in New York City. Cleaner, right? And I started a nonprofit in New York City, in Rockaway Beach. Our goal was to provide free ambulance service to people in our community, because you know the cost of ambulance service is a lot. And unfortunately, that part didn't get up and running because of corporate greed. The people who approved those licenses sat on the board to approve those licenses also ran for-profit ambulance corporations, so they believed that we were going to trample over their money. But that didn't stop us. We continue to do things for the community, Thanksgiving dinners, Christmas back to school give it outs, and it's still going nowadays with little hiccups, but they're doing strong. But I moved to Florida in 2017, and I wanted to do something different. I always wanted to give back to the community because that's who I am. I'm a community giver. And I stepped into the world of law enforcement. I became a police officer for the Mount Dora Police Department because I wanted to change the narrative. I wanted to show people that not all police officers are bad. I mean, not just what the news show you guys, that there are some good. And in my 8 years of becoming in law enforcement, I never pulled out my taser, never shot anybody, never stabbed anybody, never even pepper sprayed nobody. I just talked. And that's what majority of the people want. They just want somebody to be there for them in their time of needs and talk to them. And like, just, hey, listen, you have to do it. So you go this way, you go this way, but I'm the kind of person that give people hope. And that's what led me up into running for Congress. The person who's in Congress right now, like I said, I'm not a political person. I have 2 very good friends who are elected officials in New York City. And I helped them in their campaign when I lived in New York City. But then I see this guy who was a bad
person.
Yeah, state assemblyman, and then they elected him to be our congressman. And I'm like, you don't even live in our district. Why? And now he's going online badgering children. I love children. I got 5 myself. I'm a foster parent. I'm a youth football coach. And the things he's saying is not so good. And then what tipped my gears is the things he started saying about children in Gaza to starve and die. And the things he started saying locally to families and teachers. And so Mr. Randy Not So Fine has to go, and that tipped my gears.
Not so fun, I love it.
Yeah.
And my wife and me talked about it. She said, you know you're a go-getter, and I believe anything you can do. She had my back 100%. My family got my back. We come from a strong, thick city, and that's why I decided to run, because there's a real good hope and good chance for me to run. I mean, even right now, I got over 100 petitions signed by Republican constituents in our area. So I think it's a real good chance for me to change the narrative and get some hope back into our community.
Well, he's so rude to everyone.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
beyond
it
rude.
is, yeah.
You said you have over 100 Republicans sign these?
Wow, that's
Yeah,
great.
you're gonna need that kind of a broad base.
Yes.
Yeah, just having a law enforcement background
Winning
brings them out.
Democrats is not gonna be enough in this district.
Of course.
I'm sure you're aware of that.
Of course.
Questions that you might have of Ronnie?
I have, just to throw it out there, a pretty basic question is, what do you hope to accomplish, you know, when you're elected?
Well, I tell everybody that as a Democratic Party, we always look for the normal things that we do to make people's lives better. You know, protecting Medicaid, protecting Social Security, universal health care, universal child care. Like, those are the things that we as a Democratic Party always push for. But now with this person reelected back into office, I don't know how. God willing, well, how he got back into office, being that he's a 34-count felon, he's making our life a little bit harder.
A little bit?
A little bit. Yeah, that's an understatement.
I mean, that's an understatement, but he's making our life harder. So the first thing I think we need to do when I get into Congress is undo everything he done this term and last term, because on top of what he done already, he's made it worse. And then we can continue fighting for the normal things that we have to fight for. We have to stand up for democracy.
May I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just wondering
No, go ahead.
At that federal level, it seems like a very tall order for anybody to reach across the aisle and to be able to compromise, you know, and get people to see a different way of seeing things. Do you have experience doing that, or are you pretty much just gonna come from your background of, you know, your humanitarian efforts?
Well, I think it's a mixture of both. My humanitarian efforts, I talked to both sides of the aisle. Doing what I did in law enforcement, I did kind of like a little thing of hostage negotiations. So I know how to get people to talk about it, de-escalate situations. I mean, I did it my whole life, no matter if it was being a law enforcement officer or being EMS. I saw the worst in people, and you have to just give people that kind of hope. And like I just told you, I got a lot of Republican signatures, and I got that just by talking to them and just saying, tell me what the Republican Party did to you. I tell people this story every single time. Being a law enforcement officer, I'm no longer a law enforcement officer as of 3 weeks ago. That's another story for another time due to litigation purposes. But I was a motor deputy. Me and a partner, we rode together all the time. And he did things, and I looked at him and said, are you sure you're Republican? like stopping to help families who's begging for food and money on the side of the road. You know, there's a city ordinance that said you can lock them up and give them a ticket. He wouldn't do that. We would go help them get food. And I looked at him and said, that's very Republican of you. And he was like, stop it. But also, I agree with you. I think one of the first things we should do when we get into Congress is, because how can we ask our community to stop being so undivided if Congress itself is divided? Right? If you walk into the Chamber of Congress right now, it's like left is blue and right is red.
Right.
Man, in school, when my teachers used to see when we had, you know, the nerds and one thing, and then the smart people there, and then the basketball team here, and the football team here, she used to mix us up. Go mingle with each other to get to know. I think that's the first thing we should do when we get to Congress. Like, you guys should not be separated, because if the world is seeing you guys separated here, they're going to be separated. I think we should mix everybody up. It forces me to sit next to a Republican and say, I have to get to know you. I have to get to know that you like your Frappuccino with bagel and knish every morning at 8:30 in the morning, and get to know what are you. It's a New York thing. We're forced to get to know people, and we're diverse in New York City, and that's why I love my city so much, because we were forced. Diversity. No matter if you're a Republican, no matter if you're independent, no matter if you're a Democrat, no matter if you're Buddha, no matter if you're Judas, no matter if you're Islam, we were forced to get to know each other, and we did it with so much respect that if you go to New York City right now and you're lost, we'll go, can I help you with something? In Florida, everybody just drives right on by. And I'm like, that's the kind of diversity that Florida puts out in its own people, that we as New Yorkers, even New Jerseyans, because we're there, we're family. I don't see that in Florida because the government allows that to happen.
I think that's big city culture is what it is.
It is a big city culture, but it's also like like my mom right now is in New Haven, Connecticut. She also moved to Endicott, New York, and Binghamton. It's not a big city. It's just the culture of New York State.
Yeah.
Right? Florida don't have that culture because
Right.
they won't allow it because they think it's a democratic culture.
Yeah.
And I think that's the first thing we need to tackle, that the culture difference needs to change. And that we all just human beings.
Donna had something, then Kathy did.
Not so much a question as a commentary on Trump having taken away the funding for the tunnel. between
Which
New Jersey-
tunnel?
The one in New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Between New York
that we
City
know
and
about
New
it,
Jersey.
yeah.
And that's jobs that went away and
Yes.
the danger of the old tunnel. And, you know, I've been through that tunnel a few times.
So we all have,
Yeah.
we
So-
saw the water leaking.
But, you know, not just a commentary on, you know, that's the kind of thing that Congress needs to overcome with Trump.
Mm-hmm. And he's doing it, and you know what's I don't understand is that he's openly admitting it to do it to Democratic cities and nobody's caring. Well, because he's not gonna do that with Florida.
Yeah.
No, my husband says that all
No.
the time.
Kathy D, did you?
Yeah, I think one of the most important things that when you get to Congress has to be addressed is redistricting. You talk about the division, okay? They all need to be those independent commissions, and the districts need to be drawn fairly and permanently. You do it once after the census,
Census.
and it doesn't happen again, and it has to be fair,
Mhm.
okay? The other thing is the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court does not represent this country, okay? It should be evenly divided. I don't want to hear anything about DEI. The Supreme Court should be evenly divided between men and women. It has to have Native American on there, has to have some Asian Americans on there, it needs to have black and white representation on there, and they need to have the head of it, the Chief Justice, has to rotate between the two political parties
That's a great idea.
every year or two.
Term limited.
Because it's,
Kathy, you have to run.
oh, well,
I know, like, come on.
and the other thing is, Canada bothers me, what we're doing to Canada, okay? Our strongest ally, the way we have treated the other governments around the world, okay? And this total bullshit of only white Afrikaners being the only people we're going to admit into the country. I can trip right offline over that. But if we're supposedly the richest country in the world, okay? We're now probably the number 2 power. We're no longer number 1. Sorry, China is. I don't care what they say. Number 2, why the hell can't we have health care and child care and education if the Nordic countries can manage it? Why can't we manage it?
And SNAP.
And groceries, okay? Our food supply system is an absolute ridiculous hodgepodge. There's a way to do it. In France, all of the extra food from restaurants and that kind of thing, they go to shelters and to old age homes and stuff like that. We throw it in the goddamn garbage. I mean, really, we can do better, people. We have got to do better. Sorry.
You know, we want him to run, Kathy.
Oh, no, because Kathy, you are speaking the voice of the people, because what you just did right now is the reason why yesterday happened the way it happened.
Oh, I know.
Everybody is very, very upset about
Yeah.
the way this country is run, and everything you just mentioned is on my brochure, on my flyer. Like, I already got a thing going about the extra food. Why are we throwing away food? Shelf-life food is different. And I understand that these groceries are run by the USDA, whatever, that they have to throw food away at a certain limit. But we can give that to pantries. We can give that to local food shelters. I 100% agree with
And
you.
the distribution system.
Absolutely.
I mean, what's this about, you know, what do they call it, neighborhoods where there aren't any groceries?
Desert food.
Desert
food
yeah.
desert.
Food desert. Come on! The best country in the world, get the hell out of here. I mean, that's ridiculous.
I'm with you.
Do we still have a USDA?
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
wondering
so
about
Maybe.
that. Do we? I don't know.
Ronnie, along those same lines, addressing gerrymandering.
Mhm.
Would you consider legislation to at least double the size of the House of Representatives? That would be the logical.
That is a logical
It
thing.
hasn't been done for over 100 years.
I
We
agree.
have to build another one.
I agree, but we also need
No,
to
that's
hit the core things like Kathy just said and stop the gerrymandering. And that's for everybody.
But at least doubling the size makes it far more difficult to
Mhm.
gerrymander.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Would you support Puerto Rico and DC becoming states?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it should be.
Rivera, baby. Families from Puerto Rico. We have to do it.
Yeah, but do they want to anymore? At this point, they're running for the hills.
Well, look who's in office.
But yeah, but if you're a Puerto Rican, you're anyway. Delane. Okay. Yeah.
You had mentioned that you would help family or friends with elections in New York. What did you help them do, and what did they?
Oh, canvassing and things. When I was living in New York.
When you were there.
Yeah, I used to canvass for them and help them in Rockaway, because one of my friends are assemblymen in Rockaway. One of them is the Queensborough president. And when his election came, we canvassed our local areas. Yeah, I used
So
to.
that helped you with kind of knowing
Yeah.
some of the steps and stuff
Yeah,
and
yeah,
how
yeah.
to proceed.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
And most of
What
it
the
is.
community needs.
Yeah, most of it is not that hard though. It's, I mean, common sense. I mean, you could go online. I love studying. I'm in school. I love reading. I learned a lot of things. Before I decided to run, my next goal was to start law school next year. I put that on hold because I think this is more important.
The other thing, second part of that was, what I wanted to ask is, just for education to teach me, you're saying the primary is not until, is August.
August,
But then the election will be a November. Isn't
Right.
that late? I mean, because that only gives then the candidate that wins the primary 2 months?
A very short time, and we don't know who the Republican, I mean,
Right.
because they're gonna run against Randy Fine, is
Right.
gonna run against Malcolm Barrow,
Has it
or
always been
one of the
that
other Republicans.
Yes.
Tight
We don't know.
for all the, okay.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
seems like it should have been
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
I
you
was
know
kind of
what?
surprised when I
Yeah.
heard August also.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm famous for quoting C. Northcote Parkinson in Parkinson's Law, that work expands to fill the time allotted. So
That
many
is
of us,
true.
if we have a term paper and they give it 3 months in advance, we'll make it last 3 months. But if we've been
Right.
told next week you need to turn in a term paper, you'll get it done. So the same with the campaign. If they give it, and in many countries you have an even shorter amount of time, and they get the work done.
It gives us more time for the debate session between
And
all
the-
the candidates.
Yeah, that it does.
The
That it
debates,
does.
the talking,
Yeah. Mark,
You know, I would suggest that you get out and talk to as many places and as many people as you can. That's the key.
So why
I
he's
know.
here.
Last year I ran for city council and I'd say half my votes came from Republicans because the message was right.
Mhm.
If the message is right, it's not gonna matter what the party is, except for those MAGA people. But-
Yeah.
But a normal Republican, if you give them the right message, they'll go for you.
Mhm.
But you gotta talk to them. You gotta get up. Don't just talk to Democrats, talk to Republicans. That's key, because they don't necessarily want that other guy, okay? But they gotta have a better choice.
Mhm.
So that's important. You gotta get out there. And on our side, to help you, we have to get Democrats out to vote. Now,
Yes.
we saw yesterday, they came out and voted,
Yeah.
okay? We've gotta keep that momentum going,
Yes.
so that when it comes your time, you'll get the votes. The people will be there to vote for you, but you gotta get the message out to the Republicans and the Democrats.
Yeah, sorry if I agree. I 100% agree. We've been canvassing, I just started 2 months ago, and I've been canvassing, and I and my team been personally hitting the hard, strong Republican areas like Flagler County here.
Yeah.
And then I actually have I'm gonna share with you guys, I have a coffee with the candidate coming up in Flagler County on November 15th at the Bean. So,
At the what?
at the Gene Bean Coffee Shop. I'll share that with you guys.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Mr. Fraser, and then Kathy R.
Have you established?
I'm sorry.
Oh,
There you go.
Have you established your team? Do you have a treasurer? Have you set up your staff yet?
So my staff right now is close family and friends, and then I got a couple of volunteers, but we are set. A lot of them are good at what they do. I got a family member who has a degree in finance who's helping me with that.
That's
And then
great.
until I get to the point where, if she don't want to do it no more, or there's somebody outside that can do it better, But right now, it's close family, friends, as much as I can do, but we are established.
So you're building.
Find a media person.
Yeah.
That can help you with the media second
Yeah,
part of it.
that's the only part we're missing, is somebody who's very good at media. Right now, it's me and another friend who's very good at graphic designs and all that good stuff. But somebody who's really good at output and outreach, that's what we're looking for right now.
I have a suggestion.
Yes, ma'am.
Go over to the Wawa station over here next to the high school
Mhm.
and ask the kids coming out of the high school who they know that's a great for creating websites, doing social media. You might get some people.
Oh, listen, I got a 16 and 13-year-old. That's who that's who helps me out. I'm not even gonna lie with you right now.
Helps out with it.
She's very fancy with it. She's very smart, very fancy with it.
Kathy Otter, yeah.
I just want to throw out there, speaking of getting out there to meet people, this Friday is First Friday in Flagler Beach. The Democrats have a booth there. Palm Coast Democratic Club is hosting this month because last month it was rained out. So you're more than welcome to come and say hi to people as they walk up to the booth and shake some hands and let people know what your platform is. You probably won't be the only one there looking for that same thing. But, you know, I'll throw it out there. It's, you know, the Republicans have a booth there too. And, you know, when we were working our hearts out for Josh Wheel, he was there at the booth. It brought people in. Time to get to know your staff, who you have working for you now, and also for them to listen to people. What are they anxious for you to do? What's first on their list? It's a great, and it's also a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So let's go to Maya, then Kathy D. Yeah.
So you're a citizen in this country just like the rest of us. So what problem is most important to you personally that you feel that you should start working on if you get elected into Congress?
I think for me is the immigration. I don't like the way that's happening. I mean, my family is Hispanics. The way they're taking away the due process clause and rights from everybody. I'm a law enforcement officer. I respect the law. Due process is one of the strongest laws. All persons, not all citizens. And it's very in there clearly, because if you take away the all persons part and put all citizens, how do me as a law enforcement could dictate are you a citizen or not? I can't, and that's why that's in there. I think the way immigration is happening right now is very, very wrong. Obama deported more undocumented immigrants than Trump did so far, but he did it the legal way, the right way, right? And then Trump ran a platform of only the worst of the worst, but he's pulling people out of schools and work and senior homes. They're going into senior homes courts where they go to get due process act. So I think for me as a citizen, I mean, of course, healthcare and all that good stuff, but I don't like seeing other people hurt personally. And so I think that's the first thing we need to do. And on top of that, what a lot of people realize, like, get them out. They contribute to our economy so much, and they get nothing in return.
Yeah.
It's just hurting our economy.
And they're not taking our jobs.
They're not.
It's the computers that are taking the jobs, and these other idiots don't know it.
Oh, yeah.
To me, one of the most important things is the First Amendment, the freedom of speech, and he is decimating libraries across this country.
100%.
Okay?
Retired
And
librarian.
the books that are getting removed are books that, when I was growing up, the only women that you could find in the library was Eleanor Roosevelt, Nancy Drew, and Annie Oakley. Okay? I had to get to college before I found out about people like, you know, Gertrude Bell and some of the, you know, I mean,
Sue Sturt.
one of the most important books I read as a sophomore in high school was The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. They're taking that book out all across the library, all across this country. And that book is just so powerful, you know, and it doesn't matter that the child that's written about it is a black child. What matters is that they get to see that everybody, you know, there was a girl in my school had the most gorgeous hair. Oh my God, she had gorgeous hair. She had really long, straight, she was Asian. Oh my God, her hair was gorgeous. And I had this short, curly man all over the place hair.
It looks good, don't worry.
Okay. She wanted my blue eyes, you know? So the First Amendment to me is the most important.
I have a question about
Yeah.
that, because it's
And
about
then-
the First Amendment, and it's about what's going on with AI. How does everybody, I mean, to me, it feels like there's a huge tension right now between the First Amendment and the lies that are becoming more prevalent on a minute-by-minute basis. How do we address that? I mean, how do we get that under
They keep
control?
telling
That
us it's going to
people can
solve
say
all our
something.
problems. It's going to
People-
solve medicine,
Well, and it
farming, and
will.
all
I
this.
mean,
They can't even make a goddamn answering system
It's
that
going
works.
to be it's wonderful if it's used correctly, but people are using it with evil intent. How do we reconcile those things? Is that, I don't know, because it seems that a lie can be said, 3 times, and
Say it
then it
3
gets
times.
traction, and it becomes fact.
Click your heels and it's the
Technology
truth.
is controlling what is a lie and what isn't a lie.
Yeah.
Technology is controlling it.
And we know who's controlling the technology, right? The
Yeah.
So-
1%.
If you
You have to build some legislation
But that's what I'm
on
asking.
technology companies, yes.
That-
They're determining what
So
is
that's
truth
the
and
path.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's the
Well, you know,
path.
You gotta hit it at
yeah.
the core.
Behind you.
Okay. Go ahead, because I just want to be a fan, express my admiration for those teachers who teach critical thinking. I think
Yes.
that's,
Right.
Yes.
Ask the
Yes.
right questions. Go ahead.
We're failing to get the message out. When this started with Trump, make America great again, we failed to get that message out. Where was that time period for America?
Right.
And that time period was from 1948 to 1970, when our veterans came home from World War II, the greatest generation ever, came home, demanded wages, benefits, okay, everything we're talking about, we've lost. We used to be 33% union workforce.
You
And that
got
was
a raise
with,
every year.
yeah, and that was with labor workforce, okay? Today it's 7%. We've lost the middle class. That's why we can't have no affordability. And now, like I said earlier, I'm only a public member. I try to get on the advisory board for affordable housing here in Flagler that they started in 1998, and they have zero squat for it, just to let you know. And the median income they claim is $89,900. Now everybody's eyes are gonna go, what do you mean, $89,900? Again, I'm gonna say it again, they're manipulating the number because they don't want the program to really work, okay? And the reason they got this number is they're using the Northeast and Chicago pensions that are coming down here, and that's where they're coming up with the median income. I argued that point and said a median income, yes, that's an income, but it's a fixed income. I'm not entitled to any more raises, bonuses, or anything like that. So that manipulation of that number, if you're really about affordable housing, should be, I believe, 50 and below, okay? And that way, it'll tell the landlords, because right now the landlords think it's $89,900, or they're gonna keep their rents high. You bring that median income down to a realistic number, they're gonna see that the number's not at $89,900. And that's the manipulations that are going on. And we've gotta stop the manipulation with AI and everything, and we gotta call out these lies, and we gotta call them out to what they are, they're lies, and it's just tearing us apart, and it's tearing apart the both parties.
Yes.
That's why I became an
Yes.
independent, because I think both parties are nothing but, in my opinion, I'm not saying a platform, but I'm gonna say it as an independent. I'm gonna say it as an independent. I'm gonna tell you why I left the Democratic Party. I left because when Clinton signed the NAFTA bill, as a steelworker at that time, I was with the steelworkers. I've been fortunate enough to be in many unions. That was the day I seen we're gonna lose manufacturing, and that came true.
Okay, Curt was next, and then we'll go to.
The first
I'm sorry,
Democratic
I'd like you to-
Socialist.
Yes.
Who was the first Democratic Socialist?
That would be our,
Washington.
no, it would be, no, Washington.
It's FDR.
Yeah, the FDR,
But
yes.
even his cousin
Yeah.
was a Democrat. So what did he do?
Teddy Roosevelt.
He established a lot of the national parks.
National parks,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lost that.
This is socialism, people.
Yes.
You gotta understand it.
And that's when America stopped heading towards greatness, is
Yes.
when the CIA murdered John F. Kennedy.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, 33% was union workforce, and they consider unions as socialists, okay? Because we ask for higher wages and benefits.
In conjunction with the mob.
Yeah.
You know, in the 60s, I went all the way through college and graduate school. And I got out of school and had money in the bank. Why? The socialist program,
Yeah.
the GI Bill. And what it did for all those returning soldiers
Right.
and sailors from World War II is just incredible.
This is what I've been
You
saying
just-
for years, we have to normalize socialism.
Yeah.
We have
Yes.
to normalize it,
Yeah.
let people know it's okay to be, my red scarf is in honor of Comrade Zorian's win.
So many people don't even understand what it means.
Yes.
Right.
What benefit everybody gets because of socialism.
He described it very early in New York City, where all these different groups, all these different ethnicities, they all get along because they talk. That's socialism. That's making people, I don't care what your special interests are, we're equals.
Yep.
Everybody is equal.
It's recognizing
That's
that-
socialism. That is
Think about
socialism.
it.
And then you have the programs to support that, education, healthcare, affordable housing. Those are all socialism programs.
And
Police,
roads
fire,
and infrastructure, that's all
postal
socialism.
service.
Right.
But it starts with the people. The people have to be united. Leonard Cohen had a song out a long time ago. I don't know if anybody's familiar with him.
Yeah.
First we take Manhattan. That's the first thing I thought of when Zorian won.
I know.
First we take Manhattan, then we take Berlin. Those are metaphors. Manhattan being the metaphor for capitalism, for the financial district. Berlin being a metaphor for, Berlin has historically been a hotbed of competing ideologies
Yes.
and so on and so forth. First you overthrow capitalism, then you unite the people.
Beautiful.
Okay?
Arnie was next.
I have a
I didn't
question.
say it, Leonard Cohen did.
I have a question, and the only reason why I'm asking is because we need a Democrat who could win. Win over a Republican district. So I'll ask you, politically, what is your strength that you got a chance to win?
Well, for me, I believe that the Republicans are digging their own grave. That personally for me. I mean, like we saw in April, Josh Will came really close to winning his election, literally about a few thousand, and he has some things that they pushed on his background. There's nothing they're gonna push on my background. I did nothing my whole life. I've served my community my whole life. Got arrested once for hopping the turnstile in New York City. I had a
Don't worry, they'll make something.
I had a hey, listen, it got dropped. I had a free Metro card. I was coming home from school. I just lost my Metro card. The judge, I went to this court that same night. The judge goes, "Are y'all serious? He's 16 years old. He has a free Metro card from New York City. He just lost it. Y'all seriously gonna do that?"
Why is he here?
Yeah, like why am I here? He like just leave him alone. So I think my background, everything I've been going through, I have a strong passion for things like this. But I think they just did, every time that guy get on social media, he just digging himself into a deeper hole. I walk into meetings, and I just did it today. I walk into the meeting and say, "Hey, I'm Ron Murchinson, I'm from New York City. I'm a Democrat running for Congress in CD6, running against Randy Fine." And people say no other thing. They're like, "Where your petition at?
Yeah.
Let me just sign here." And that's just before they get to know Ronnie.
Right.
So, I mean, like I said, in my district, it's a heavy red. I live in Lake County. I live in Sorrento area. And they know me, though. They know me personally. They know, just from working at Mount Dora for 4 years, they know, listen, he's the Democrat, but I know him. I know that what they've been saying about Democrats ain't true because I personally know, there's a video circling online where you guys, a lot of people know me from Mount Dora for saving a cat. He was stuck behind a vent. I took my whole gear off, body camera, and me and my sergeant jumped into the vent and got it, and people know me for that, and I did interviews and everything. And so when you go and search my name, and then people like, Ronnie is Ronnie, he's a Democrat, but I'm like, dang, all the bad things I heard about Democrats, I know him. He's not like that kind of person, and that's what's changing. And I think that's my strength.
So you gotta get people to know you.
Yes.
Just know me.
Yes.
When I go online and I talk to people, and people are like, "I'm not voting for you, you're a Democrat," I look at them and says, "What do you know about me?" "Well, I know you're a Democrat." "Okay, what do you know about me?" I said, "So how can you judge me before you know who Ronnie is?" And then we start talking. Then they start getting to know me. And, "Oh, snap, you love things like this? You listen, I'm a law enforcement officer, and this is one of the things that I talk to Republicans about that snaps them out of the reality that they're in. I was an ex-law enforcement officer. I have guns. There's no Democrats here that wants to take away your guns. We just want sensible gun laws that our children will stop dying for, right? I have 5 children. when I'm working, I get a phone call from the child on my school, child's school that says, you know, they have school events coming up, or they were late for school by a couple minutes. But it sinks my heart because you don't know what that phone call is until you answer the phone, and the only thing you see is Sorrento Elementary is calling you. Oh shoot, what is going on? And every single one of my partners feel that same way. When Florida got rid of the gun permits, I can promise you right now, a lot of my colleagues was like, why? That was the only thing to stop and make sure this person isn't a felon. He wasn't going to go do things bad. But now they got rid of that. Now they made it even worse. Now you can open carry. Like I advise people, please don't open carry. You lose your element of surprise. Right. Not only that, you target yourself because the thieves want to take your gun, and they take your gun, and they know you have a gun, and the first thing they're going to do is probably hurt you, shoot you, take your gun and run. Please. So when I tell Republicans that, like, I don't want to take away your guns, I just want to make sure your child that goes to that elementary school in Sorrento is not murdered by a person who shouldn't have that gun. They open the eyes and say, oh my God, you're right. So what can they got against Ronnie? I don't hate guns. I can tell you guys right now, for the people who lived up north, the first time Ronnie ever held a gun was in 2017 during the police academy, because New York has strict gun laws. But then you get down here, it's not so bad. But then I cherish New York because we wasn't sustained to the gun violence. As people think that New York has a lot of gun violence, not compared to Florida. Yeah. It's way less. Mm-hmm. It's way less than Texas. It's way less than it. Because our state is trying to reduce, like, think about it. When the last time New York City had a school shooting? Never. Because we have strict gun laws that, like, you can get a gun in New York, you just have to follow their strict gun laws. And a lot of people are like, oh, you're infringing on my Second Amendment right. No, we're not. We're trying to save lives. And it's been working so far. So I think that's my take on that.
So my concealed carry permit is, I don't need it anymore?
Nope, the only thing you have concealed carry in Florida?
You do not.
In Florida, the only thing that's good for right now in Florida?
Is if I go somewhere else?
No, if you go buy a gun, you don't have to wait the 3-day hot period. That's all it's good for right now.
Yeah. Maya, and then Mark, and Donna. Go ahead. All right, but Kathy, briefly.
I wanted to go back to what she was talking about with AI and stuff like that. What happened to the fairness doctrine? I mean, we have a entertainment channel, Fox Entertainment, that had to pay $875 million for lying. Why the hell do they still have a license when currently completely legitimate news organizations like NPR and NBC, and I think he's going after all three of them now, okay, are being threatened with their license. None of them went to court for lying.
I can answer that question. Look who's in office.
I
The person
know.
who runs it. Hear me out. He's trying to settle his own. He's trying to settle his own tort claim.
Yeah, yeah.
So Kathy, the fairness doctrine only applied to over-the-air broadcasting from back in the 60s and 70s. It was canceled by the director of the FCC under Ronald Reagan. Fox News is not considered a broadcast. It's a streaming or
Is a cable
other.
network,
And
yeah.
so
They shouldn't be
the
able to use news.
I understand, but I'm just saying the fairness doctrine
Yeah.
would never work today in the media society, because there's no way you can go to, say, my YouTube channel and force me to have a second person sitting there to do the pros and cons.
Mhm.
Though I wish at a certain level that would come back, because there's only one voice either side being done.
Yeah.
But the question I have for you, and I applaud you and Ray and anybody else that's taking a step to participate, to be a candidate, to allow all of us to have choices, because nothing can get fixed until we have a voice somewhere, city, county, or at the national level, or clearly at the state level. How are you going to, over this next 9 months, develop your brand so that you can talk to the
Yes.
liberals,
Yes.
talk to the independents.
Yes.
You know, you're not helping your brand by saying Conrad anything.
Why not?
Because
They told you that's a bad word. I don't care what they tell you.
But you have to get someone elected first.
He is elected.
No, I'm talking about the gentleman sitting here right now, and that's the challenge of our election process, to be able to find, especially from where you are,
Yes, that was my next
because
question.
yes, we had an amazing election in New York, mayor. That's not
And he
gonna
called
fly
himself a
in.
socialism. He wasn't afraid of that
And guess
title.
what? I'm a democratic socialist
Yeah.
because I served in the military. I had people, I had this argument the other day with my brilliant red retired police officer father-in-law. And I said, you know, how does it feel getting the benefits of socialism? He gets a pension retired every month, which is, and he doesn't, so what I'm trying to say is people don't understand the branding. They fear the branding. And so we need to embrace everybody and to say and to clarify, if you benefit from any kind of support from the government, that's socialism. The fireman that comes to your house is socialism. The police that knock on your door is an example of a commitment we make that is social benefit. And there's a great meme going around, hold on, that talks about the fireman that saves your house is a socialist. The insurance company that cancels your request
Is a
for
capitalist.
insurance is a capitalist. But it's all about naming, and I know that's a struggle that Josh had, that other candidates have as we reach a little higher out. So how are you gonna build that?
Well, a perfect example that I've been doing to reach out to people is when I knock on doors, I am not, hey, I'm Ronnie, I'm a Democrat running for Congress in U.S. District. Hey, my name is Ronnie, I'm running to be a U.S. Congressman in our district to serve you. Please tell me, how can I help you, and what do you feel that Congress can do to change? And I talk to them first, right? Because I want them to get to know me first, not as a Democrat, as Ronnie. And then at the end of my conversation, I let them know who I am. And then I let them know who I am at the end because we already established that connection in the beginning before because if you go up to somebody who's a hardcore Republican or even you say I'm a Democrat, they already got that mindset in their mind. It's like, hey, no. But if we're talk and I get to know you and we can agree to something, we can have a little, common ground. It's human to disagree.
Sure.
And then we could come to this common ground as humans and be like, all right, listen, I agree with you, but can we do this? And how about this? And how about that? And then at the end, we could shake hands and say, I agree with you. And here, listen, you might see me on the ballot. There might be a D next to my name, but before you knew it was a D next to my name, we just did democracy. And that's how I think we need to see people as humans before we consider them as a label. Because that's what this whole country is doing. They're labeling people before I get to know you. All mine is, I'm not voting for you. You're a Democrat. Like I just tell you guys, tell me something about me before you label me. And if you can't tell me something about me before you label me, that's the first thing you did wrong.
I struggle.
Okay, let's go Maya and then Sue.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. What, I know you're talking a lot about what you're doing for getting both Democrat, Republican, Independent, all of those different parties to vote for you, but what are your tactics for people of my generation, the younger generation? I'm Gen Z, I'm 19. I know a lot of my friends are not very politically active or knowing of much that's going on in our city. So what are you trying to do that's going to get the younger people here in this district to vote for you?
Well, I've been doing, so a lot of my volunteers are people who are less than 25 years old. I've been going to all these colleges, going to youth meetings. If you look on my Facebook, my Instagram, you can see that a lot of recruitment, a lot of my volunteers are youth. And we, just recently I went to Stetson College. I target you because we are the future. And I say we because like I said, I'm 35 years old. It's still my future up until a certain extent. but the youth are just as important. A lot of them don't realize that politics are involved yet, and that's when I have to kick into their brain that you shouldn't wait until you finish college to start getting into politics. That's why I'm very glad that they have things like the Young Democratic Progressives and to push that narrative. Because a lot of them are like, I'm in the mindset of, I don't care about that right now. I'm trying to finish college. And then I look at them and says, so how are you paying for college? Well, I got grants and I'm working part-time. I said, politics are involved in that, because if you are a future, we should be investing in you and not making, when you get out of college, you have $100,000 in debt. And now you know, the degree that you were pushing for when you got out of college, now you can't find a job in that field. And now you are like in debt. Why? We should be investing in our young people. We should give back to our community because you guys are the future. And then they're like, oh, you're right. So in my team, I have over like 10, 15 youth. And I have a lot of people backing me, young college Dems. I just went to Daytona State College. I go to Stetson College. I'm reaching out. So a lot of my volunteers are youth.
I wonder why, just two things really quickly. One thing that had really struck me up there was the last hotel we stayed in Edgewater, beautiful view. There were two young, great ladies behind the desk, and they helped us out with something and everything. And it was Paula and I. Paula's a born and bred Floridian, blah, 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 which she was just blown away up there. But one thing I noticed was that these young girls, they were not registered to vote.
Where are you talking about? I'm sorry.
Jersey.
Jersey, okay.
Edgewater.
Okay.
They were not registered to vote.
I thought you meant Edgewater, Florida. That's why I clarified.
But of course, we brought this up to them, because the vote, I mean, it was like in the front of our brains the whole time we were there. Donnie and Merrill and all that. And they were not, and they weren't planning on voting and everything. By the time we left 2 days later, we had these girls like swear an oath that they were going to register to vote by next year. The midterms are really important. But what I found very interesting, what stuck with me with these young ladies is that they were animated and excited to talk about politics. Sometimes when I remember talking to my kids' my own children's friends, and they would like their eyes would glaze over the minute you get it. Like, I don't want to really talk about it. Like they think political discussion is
Doesn't it
negative.
them?
It's like it makes everybody fight. So that's something I think is really important when we're going into these young people. Is like, it's fun to talk about this, and it is crucial. That's what we told those girls. We're like, this is your future. Like, we're getting tired. We're getting old and tired.
That's something we don't have anymore as a town center where discussion used to take place.
Yeah, I agree.
Then my question to you.
Can I answer that question first? I agree with you, because a lot of my discussions and a lot of my volunteers, the youth, we started getting in the topic when you go back to youth, is when they hear I'm running for Congress, the first thing they was like is, why y'all getting rid of TikTok?
Yeah.
Such a
you got to open the youth's eyes to something they are interested in.
They don't have that up north. Up north, it's like so many people talk about politics, so many parents. It's like, we used to sit down with my friend's family, and that's what we would do all afternoon, eat cheese. They would drink beer, we would drink Cokes, and we were 13 years old, and we were like completely invited into these for hours.
And that's because
on end.
You are deeply involved, and you are teaching your young at that age. Some families don't do that, and then when they get into the world, they don't know. Right. And so it's our job to teach them.
Right.
And that's why I go to youth, because a lot of these youth in the colleges, they were like, how do we even vote?
Yeah. My only other
question
was about that I get confused with when is it a good, because what struck me also up there was Mamdani was so like, first of all, he was focused, right?
Very.
On the socialism thing, right? Very focused on that. 3 main issues, that's what I'm going on. But he was like proud, he was like kind of daring, MAGA to, come at me, like da, 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 da. And yet we talk here about how important it is to find common ground and to make people trust you enough to speak with you. So again, that seems to me like something that a campaign has to master. When to do that.
Don't confuse common ground with fairness.
Capitulating.
Yeah, like you get what I'm saying? Like, we can have a common ground, but there's certain people where you got to go above that common ground.
That's what I'm talking about.
And say, listen, because there's some people you're not going to change their mind. And you're just going to have to say, you know what?
Agree to disagree.
Yeah, but come at me.
You know what I thought was the most important thing Montgomery said last night on his acceptance speech? He said, if you come for one of us, you have to come for all of us. That is socialism. That is socialism. It's all of us.
Kathy,
I was just gonna say, I mean,
And
we have
Tifa.
generations
Tifa holding the bell to holes.
of this do not talk, what do you don't talk about? Politics,
Religion.
religion,
Yeah.
and
money.
sex.
Oh, sex. I thought it was money.
Not
Yeah,
money.
money is further.
We raised that way. So if you come from a family where that's not a discussion that comes
Right.
up at the dinner table, it just doesn't come up. And so they grow, glassy eyed because, they're afraid it's gonna start fight. Mommy and Daddy are gonna start fighting.
Behind you.
Just, okay, one, I'm
My-
gonna take the last
my-
question, but go ahead.
My moment when he
Okay,
spoke
one at a time.
was when he was at the podium and he said to Trump,
Yeah.
Forwards.
turn the volume up.
Right there. And he said it with a
I
smile.
know that. He basically told the public, I know you're watching the TV, turn the volume up.
I thought he was very united.
It's like
We're gonna wind down.
Before we go, I know we gotta go, but let me tell you guys, the reason why he did so good
Yes.
is because he resonated,
Resonated.
and he was always proud of what he did. Like, no matter if you came at him with a hammer, he took it from you and hammered it and said,
He started at 1%.
Come on.
He started at 1%.
in the Bronx, on the street corner, people thought he wasn't going to. 1%. A year from yesterday, he was by himself.
Yeah.
And his social media page was only like 23,000.
You use that for inspiration.
And now, as of yesterday, it's 5 million.
Let that inspire you.
Oh, it's an inspiration. Because when hope never dies, hope never dies.
Hope is a good
Okay.
thing, Red.
We thank all of you and for being here and your questions and observations, and especially thank Ronnie Murchinson Rivera. Remember that name, you'll see it on the ballot, and you'll see it on petitions, and you'll see it online. Visit his website, sign up for updates for his campaign. Thank you, and we'll continue the conversation next week, same time, same station. We thank the Rotondos and Suncoast Media for making this all possible through their great generosity. Take care, everyone. So now we're off, but let me ask you, Randy Fine has $2 million in